The map of a place is completely different than the place itself. For instance, if I say, hey, do you want to go to New York City and see Times Square, see all the people running around? I wouldn't pull out a map and say, yeah, here we are, New York City. No, nobody goes to a restaurant and starts eating the menu thinking that they're eating dinner, because the menu is a representation of the dinner and a map is a representation of the territory. Now, why am I bringing up this extremely obvious point? Knowledge is a lot like a map. When we ask, what is knowledge? The very first definition we must understand that knowledge is not 100% certain. That's actually not entirely true. There's one thing we can know with 100% certainty, which is really important, but I'll talk about it in the next video. All knowledge is tentative, uncertain. In fact, there is nothing we can know with 100% certainty, except for this one thing. I'll get to that later. The fact is that knowledge is a lot like a map. It is a representation of reality. All knowledge is subject to change. In philosophy, we call it the difference between epistemology and ontology. Epistemology is knowledge, what we can know, and ontology is what there actually is. All of knowledge is really this attempt to describe reality. Take water, for instance. If I'm really thirsty, or if I want to take a shower, the word water doesn't help me, because the word water is a representation of that wet stuff that I need. So when I'm thirsty, I don't ask for the word water and write it down on my hand and try to drink it. Doesn't make sense, because the wet stuff that I call water is something totally different. Water is just a name. The representation is always different than the thing it's trying to describe. This is essential when we're trying to understand what knowledge is. The attempt to gain knowledge is really like making a map. Let's say I want to make a map of New York City. I start with a general outline. I may draw the outlines of Manhattan and then piece in some of the parks and maybe some of the roads. It becomes increasingly detailed. And the more detailed it becomes, the more accurate and useful the map is. All of knowledge is this attempt to describe reality. It is a map-making machine. We are making maps of reality, but it is not and will never ever be reality itself. Knowledge is just the tool we use to communicate about reality. It's never going to be 100%, and it's always subject to change. So whenever you think you know something with 100% certainty, remember, and no matter what you think you can know and what you do know, it is always subject to change. We have to sharpen our critical thinking skills. It's the only way we're going to fight this plethora of misinformation in our day and age. We must begin with the idea of knowledge. We must start there, and that's what this series is all about. Thank you for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it, and I enjoyed doing this. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.